say real quick, you'd ask James where they come from. I think possibly, these cryptids, like let's say like reptilian creatures that people are seeing, and I guess the Mothman, let's say bat squatch and stuff like that. It could be experiments that extraterrestrials are dropping off here, or they also come from another dimension or something like that. That's another one you hear a lot, is they come from a different dimension. So it's a possibility.
You know what? You guys won't like me, but I really don't believe there's a parallel universe. I just don't see it. There's not a clone of Gary Anderson walking around on another planet, and instead of being married to one wife, married to three, and they're all redheads. I don't believe that is, I mean, you can sit there and science-wise and say, yeah, it's a possibility that there's I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I can believe there's other dimensions that we can't comprehend because we can't see it. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
But going into another universe of a parallel planet of ours and having I just don't buy that one. And I don't buy that, these creatures. I think these creatures are here. They've been here, and we just don't and haven't seen them because there's not that many of them. Don't forget, the national parks, the Forest Service, there's areas of miles, literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles where nobody's ever even walked. So we don't know what's out there. The same way we find creatures coming out of the ocean ever so often that, boy, those were extinct a million years ago. Well, how do we know it's not out in that woods somewhere?
Yeah,
true.
That's a very good point. I don't go for these creatures going in and out of the other universities. I don't have the research, don't support that, what I've come across. Will tell you this, with a lot of research I've come across, a lot of these Bigfoot, supposedly, they will dress themselves up in other animal skins or horns or other things that people may mistake them for Winnebago, or whatever they call them, and these sheep squatch. I've come across reports where they've taken dead horns or whatever and put on themselves. I think even the folk monster was known to do that, supposedly. But as far as going in and out of these parallel universe, I don't have enough data research that really supports that. But as far as them trying to disguise themselves, yeah. Also, I've come across they may have the ability, their hair may have abilities to cloak or something, maybe. I've come across a lot of those kind of scenarios. Can't prove it, no proof, but that's what it shows.
I don't think that's the capability. I don't want to sound negative here, but I've been doing talk radio for how many years, guys? I've heard 40 some years, guys, since 1970. I've heard it's all true. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And the little green men come and visit me every Thursday night at 8:00 to bring me my chocolate milk and cookies too, don't they?
You too?
Yeah, me too. Well, hey,
Gary.
I just want to say a shout out because not many people can figure out how to get on our chat. By the way, I've been working on the website, and I almost figured out how to put the chat on our website. So as soon as I get that up here, hopefully in the next week or two, then we don't have to worry about this other chat. Because I run two different things. I run Speaker, it puts us out on the internet. Then I run another commercial software that puts me into the radio stations. And I got a chat there with, with all the radio stations, asking me questions and engineers asking me questions when we have problems. I have to deal with that at the same time. But look, seriously, guys, I heard everything you could hear. What I have seen lately is these people that have researched Bigfoot for 20, 30 years come up and change their story now and think, oh, you know what? Maybe they're not a living flesh and blood. There may be something from another dimension, or there's something paranormal strange, okay? I don't buy that because I saw one. And I tell you what, I saw it bend a tree over like nothing, and I had to explain to my wife why her car was damaged. So I don't buy those stories. I think they are things out here that we just can't imagine because we haven't seen it. But I've heard it all, and I've heard it all. And I just don't buy that. Again, I get all these naive people on my show calling up or even as guests saying that, well, UFOs are not from another planet. They're from another dimension. They're time travelers. Or they're demons from Satan. And they're going to come and get you. Come on. If you want to believe that, hey, this is America. You can believe anything you want. But if you want to think, you or her want to think that we're the only intelligent life out there in all the universe and all these galaxies, and it can continue on because there's no brick wall stopping it, is it? The universe continues on forever. It doesn't loop back into itself. Okay? We're not the only smart people in the campground walking around with drinking their Budweiser.
That's one way to put it. Another thing, these misidentifications also, I've seen some bears that have severe mange, and people will see them and they'll say, oh, that was a werewolf, or it was some kind of dog man or something like that. And then you got these chupacabras, and I think those are, again, they're a crossbreed. I think almost probably a coy wolf maybe, or something like that. It's got severe mange. I don't know. I think we need a lot more DNA on this kind of stuff to figure it out, honestly. And then you've got these sightings of winged humanoids, gargoyles, Mothman, pterodactyls, thunderbirds. Are they all the same thing, being misidentified, just call them different things, or is it, what's going on with that?
Yeah, really. This get confusing.
Well, what do you think, Ryan? What do you think they are?
Honestly, I think they are what the people are seeing. I don't see that many misidentifications. And also, I mean, for something that big, it's got to be, you got to be blind, I guess, to misidentify it, to be honest with you. I mean, so take this, for instance, the guy who saw the owl man, at first he thought it was a hang glider, which because, like Gary, you just said, you can't believe what you're seeing, and then as it got closer, he saw it was actually a bird, a giant bird, so that's what I mean. I think you're naming big cryptids. So yeah, I think it's just, they're too big to misidentify. So I honestly think that people are seeing what they're seeing. I mean, the other ones that look similar, I can definitely see people misidentifying, but also at the same time, there are animals that sometimes that are as big as the cryptids that are getting explained. So I can see those ones getting misidentified, but for the bigger ones, like I don't see it. I think a thunderbird definitely looks different than a pterodactyl, at least the way they explain it, but some of them, people do misidentify them and say, they had this or that. And I think those are the accounts that people didn't get a good look at them, and they're just trying to basically complete the rest of their story,
Well, look at Thunderbird and stuff like that, okay? Now, I'm going to say this. Where could they exist where they're not being seen? Now, I do believe I don't believe in time travel and parallel worlds like a lot of people do think. I do think there's no such thing as time, because time is what we placed on the revolution of this planet. Okay, now the moon doesn't turn, so therefore, what is time on the moon? If you were born on the moon, you wouldn't even rationalize what time was, because you wouldn't have, the difference. I mean, tell you it. Yep. If another planet was 123 times the size of Earth, then what is one day of their time?
Exactly.
So, go ahead, James.
I was going to say, we were talking about these sightings of the Thunderbird and stuff, or pterodactyl. One of the theories out there has been maybe there's a time slip and we're looking through a window of seeing something that's not extinct because we're seeing it 65 million years ago for a brief minute or however long that we're witnessing it. Or maybe it's a portal opens up briefly. And that would, because there's another thing. There sure is a lot of missing people out there in these forests, too, that never come back.
Yep.
Alaska alone has 16,000 missing people, and the city of Vancouver has more people in it than all of Alaska. All of Alaska has less than 1 million, but per capita, they have more people go up missing than it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Well, think about
exactly.
that.
I know we're getting off topic a little bit, but yeah, like the missing 411 stuff that James exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, time slips, those are great. I love time slip stories. But yeah, you're exactly right. People, maybe have seen a peek back into time, back into the past, Could be, possibility for sure.
We don't know. Again, maybe again, because dimensions, there might be a lot more dimensions we can even comprehend because we don't understand. We're not intelligent enough. But there could be, our body is what? Atoms and molecules, right? Mm-hmm. And they fit together in our time zone, in our system. But what happens if they're in a different dimension? Their atoms and molecules might not exist in our dimension. So maybe these weird things are happening in a different dimension that maybe somehow frequently they can come, cross into our dimension or whatever. I don't know. But they would have to be flesh and living creatures, because if these people are vanishing out in the campgrounds, out in the woods, or driving their cars, something is getting them.
Yep. And then, and then we throw this wrench in there. UFOs and Bigfoot.
I don't buy it.
So that's another, a big topic in there. Is a lot of people seen Bigfoot with UFOs, especially in my state back in the 70s. There was several UFO and Bigfoot accounts. Matter of fact, there was a really good one. You guys should check it out, but I won't get into it. But long story short, the ending of it will blow your mind. Like, it's insane. But it's, there's several witnesses to this. But that's another one where, we were just talking about, what are these things? Where do they come from? And then all of a sudden you have these accounts, of UFOs picking up Bigfoot. As a matter of fact, 2 months ago, I just read a lady message me from Washington saying she saw a Bigfoot standing on a UFO. So.
Wow, but I wonder if she was smoking anything.
Well,
she was. No, I don't know.
I'll say this. I know that, yes, Western Pennsylvania in the early to mid-'70s was huge with those two things, coinciding. But here's the thing. I've often said, if aliens are coming here and abducting us, why wouldn't they abduct Bigfoot? Because they'd have the technology that Bigfoot wouldn't be able to hide from them. Why wouldn't they abduct them and do experiments on them as well?
Okay, James.
If that was the case,
we got to find out after the break.
Oh.
So we'll be back in about 2.5 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark. Check out our website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Tell your friends about Night Dreams Talk Radio. Share us on your media, and we'll be back.
Hair treats her